When we talk about the origins of Britpop, names like Oasis and Blur and Pulp tend to dominate the conversation. But if we rewind just a few years before the explosion of the mid-90s, you'll find a landmark moment in 1989. The release of the Stone Roses' self-titled debut album. It wasn't just an album, it was a turning point, a kind of cultural shift that laid the foundation of what Britpop would become. Let's start with the sound. The Stone Roses create a blend of jangly guitar pop, psychedelic rock, and groove that owed as much to dance music as it did to the Beatles. Songs like I Want to Be Adored and She Bangs the Drums had this effortless confidence and melodic richness that made them feel both classic and brand new. And then there's I Am the Resurrection, which practically invented the indie rock anthem structure that Britpop bands would later build entire careers on. But it wasn't just the music, it was the attitude. The Stone Roses had this swagger, this belief in their own greatness that would become the hallmark of Britpop era. Ian Brown wasn't just a singer, he was a figurehead. John Squire wasn't just a guitarist, he was a painter, literally and musically. Their art school aesthetic, their rejection to the mainstream industry machinery, and their embrace of British identity all fed directly into the ethos that bands like Oasis would take and amplify. Speaking of Oasis, Neil Gallagher has openly said that without the Stone Roses there would be no Oasis. That's not a casual compliment. He's talking about a band that gave people permission to believe that guitar music could be cool again in an era dominated by synth pop and American glam metal. They helped spark the Manchester scene. It's in itself bridged the gap between the underground and the mainstream, a space between Britpop would soon occupy. Culturally, the Stone Roses album made British music exciting again on its own terms. It inspired a generation of young musicians to pick up instruments, not to emulate the US, but to sound British, to be British, to find pride in that identity. That's exactly what Britpop would later double down on, a celebration of work-class life, British cities, British slang, and British sound. And even in their mystique, the long gaps between releases, the myth-making around their live shows, especially Spike Island in 1990, they helped create the blueprint for the kind of mythology that Britpop bands would chase after. So in closing, the Stone Roses debut album didn't just influence Britpop, it was the spark that made the whole movement possible. It gave British guitar music its edge back, it fused the past with the future, and it reminded everyone that sometimes one record is enough to start a revolution. So if you haven't listened to this album, check it out. It's spectacular, it's amazing, it's all over the place. I love it. It's one of my favorites. And don't forget to check out my Oasis review, which will be up after this one. So